matter, dickhead?
Hello and welcome to this very special episode of the Grumpy Old Man Wrestling Podcast here on RGC Multimedia. Rick Crabb here, and this time I am without my partner Christopher James Filito. Basically, several members of his family have tested positive for COVID-19. Chris is doing everything he can not to test positive for COVID-19, so for a while he's trying to get off our lawn, which is what this special episode is about. It is a replay of our special Get Off Our Lawn segment. These are the most angriest, bitter, most vitriol-filled segments of Get Off My Lawn that we did throughout the year. And we will begin with the very first Get Off My Lawn, which took place on episode 22, where I went into a rant about WWE and the WWE draft that was actually shown live on Fox TV from our hometown in Baltimore, and just how horrible of a card that was. Let's tell Vince and the draft to get off our lawn. Podcast here on the RGC Multimedia channel. Rick Crabb here with the Cult of Multiple Personalities. See a punk-ass Chris Filito.
Hello.
And this is a show where we are thankful that there are other companies with other choices, with other wrestling cards and TV tapings near our hometown, because the one that Vince brought to our hometown was basically back river grade shit, okay? It was horrible. And Chris, I'll get your comments later, but folks, we're going to introduce right now a new segment to our show. We're going to take turns each episode from here on out, where we will have a rant of our own, uninterrupted. We're just going to go off, and it doesn't have to be a rant. It could be just about, we could be talking specifically about a card. But anyway, this segment will be called Get Off My Lawn. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do the first one, and I'll give you the next one for the next episode, Chris, but we're going to talk. After our previous taping, I had the fortunate opportunity to go to a television taping, and it was a television taping with several matches, several compelling characters and storylines, and several hours of action. That was in Philadelphia for Major League Wrestling, not in my hometown in Baltimore for Friday Night SmackDown and the draft. Night one of the draft. Yeah, it was a draft, alright. It was a draft of fucking hot air is what that was. First of all, I've seen a lot of wrestling shows here locally and in that building. Good and bad. There haven't been many, but there have been several times where one of the world championships, either in WWE or WCW/NWA, have changed hands. There have been a lot of iconic moments of history for the WWE. Roddy Piper destroyed the flower shop in that building. Mm-hmm. Had the Slammies where Jimmy Hart got stamped with Terry Funk's ink pad branding iron by the Junkyard Dog.
I remember that.
But then I've seen some really bad wrestling shows in this town. There was an independent show by the late Dennis Carluzzo's version of the NWA. God rest his soul, especially for the crap that he put out. They had a card where the highlight, Chris, was a wrestler who came out to a gimmick. He was a man about our age wearing Elmo footy pajamas, handing candy out to the crowd, having his mother as his manager, coming from Arkham Asylum, coming out to the music of They're Coming to Take Me Away, and calling himself Corky the Retard.
Jesus Christ.
That was the highlight of that show. And that was not as bad as what happened Friday night in SmackDown on Fox.
And he had half the budget.
Right. Let me finish. It's supposed to be uninterrupted, remember? I went to another card, an local independent called EWA. Went with a friend of mine named Andy, okay? And they didn't have anyone of note, but, I mean, they were young kids starting out in the business. It was a good time. It was one of those shows, any wrestling fan knows about this. One of those you have to kind of almost make your own fun, which is basically being an obnoxious jerk and do stupid chants and stuff. And that's kind of what we did. The highlight of it was where we had like a few rows in front of us were like these 10-year-old kids. They were like saying, "Give him the elbow, give him the elbow, give him the drop kick, give him the drop kick, give him a pile driver, give him a pile driver." And my friend at the show yelled, "Teabag him!" And then the kids were like, yeah, teabag him. So the highlight was a friend of mine corrupting these 10-year-old kids and telling wrestlers to teabag them, and then even asking themselves, "What's a teabag?" So that was not as bad as Friday Night SmackDown. What are my biggest gripes with this? I'll tell you what is not my biggest gripe with this. The wrestlers there. They have a talented roster. They had an even bigger talented roster. Many notables have gone to AEW and other companies recently, as many people have known. But I'm going to give you a list of names, Chris, and I'm going to tell you what they all had in common. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Edge. What did they all have? Oh, Charlotte Flair. What did they all have in common? None of them fucking wrestled in a wrestling program. Chris, you and I were texting each other back and forth watching this piece of shit. And it came to the point where the show started at 8 o'clock. And it was 9:15 when the first actual match started. You had the schmaz, with Heyman and Roman Reigns and the Usos, and then Brock Lesnar coming out. Had a little bit of a scuffle. And you had the first night of the draft results. Okay, whatever. Then you had Edge actually wanting a match, calling out Seth Rollins, but no, instead we got a video of Seth Rollins kicking back and drinking Edge's orange juice. And sitting in front of their fireplace. Which, I'll give Edge props. He has a nice house. That really is his house. But you have all this talent. And you and I were talking off the air. The longest match that was on there was 15 minutes. That might have been the main event, the women's match. Which was a good match. And the only other match that was fairly decent was that 8-man tag with the New Day and the Private Party and all that. That being said, you had really 3 matches. Officially it was 4 matches, but one was kind of just spoiled whatever. That was hard. I mean, I hope for the sake of the people that went there were actual dark matches where they got to see some actual wrestling. I'm not so sure that was the case. Card subject to change. They advertised that there was going to be a title match between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, which, by the way, thank you WWE for spoiling draft results a month in advance so you can sell tickets to that piece of shit show. You have all that, and once again, then you have the draft itself. You have rules of, okay, now you have 2 women's champions on the same brand. We don't know, this is taped before the following episode of Raw, which will be night 2 of the draft, and they may do something with Becky Lynch. We don't know, we'll find out. But you have rules of, okay, now they can only wrestle in this brand. They have to go to the other brand. They're breaking up the New Day again. And then you have Brock Lesnar saying, I can go wherever I want because I'm a free agent. Then you have Roman Reigns basically saying, make sure that the Usos get drafted to SmackDown. Why should they care? Why can't they go anywhere the hell they want? They have that stupid wild card rule, and that's the problem. They don't know what the rules are, and when they do know what they are, Vince will forget them anyway. And he has nothing but his yes men and his stupid kids. Actually, not all of his stupid kids. Shane doesn't want anything to do with the damn company anymore. They found out recently he's not with them anymore. He has his own business ventures. Good for him. Especially since that horrible angle between him and Braun Strowman. Whatever. Okay. Stupid, yeah. But, point is, though, WWE, this is the last time, Chris. They shit, it's bad enough they shit on all the fans, but then you shit on a town that for years, you had superstar Billy Graham win the belt there. You've had a lot of angles there. You had Tuesday Night Titans, the weekly show that preceded Primetime Wrestling and then Raw, here in the Baltimore area. That was in a studio. It was it Westwood One Studios, I think?
I'm not sure.
It was somewhere in Owings Mills. I think right now it's a warehouse. I used to work right next to where that building was. But my point is, the creative direction for this company is just going to shit. And one more thing, Vince McMahon. The only thing wrestling-wise you had that you didn't have to change is what you changed the most, NXT. Yes, I know you have to go for the 18 to 49 demographics, but you had one thing. You should have modeled the other two brands off of NXT and not the other way around. So now you have these stupid storylines with weddings and, John Gargano looking at condoms in a bachelor party, and you have, Nickelodeon splash painting the damn arena and the new logo. And instead of Slipknot, you got, who the hell knows, you go from Slipknot to hip-hop.
Rick Steiner.
And, and thank you. And you have those stupid names. Why can't you call Rick Steiner Rick Steiner? Rick Steiner's son, and let him use his name. But anyway, speaking of evil people from Connecticut, we're watching the Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now.
The colors.
Yeah. Yeah, that dumbass had it. Yeah, exactly. The stupid Robert Kraft, he had his fucking ring stolen by Putin before he went to the massage parlor. Fuck him. And fuck you, Vince McMahon, for taking something that I love. Your company is the reason I started watching wrestling. I'm ashamed to admit, I'm not, I didn't live far enough south or watch NWA or anything before, until after I started watching that. I watched, basically it's WWF, then Bill Apter and his wrestling magazines, and then I learned about the NWA and the AWA and everybody else after that. But I am so glad that Philadelphia, thank the Lord, they had Major League Wrestling. They are going to have AEW Dynamite in Temple University. They're going to have New Japan show that Chris and I are going to talk about shortly, or later on in the episode anyway. And you have alternatives, you have choices. Even in Baltimore, you have Ring of Honor. Even though I was talking to fans at the MLW show about that, they were saying they were sick of seeing the empty arena matches, which is a shame because Marty Bell and Allison Kay in my hometown, and I'm not allowed to see them on that. That is unacceptable.
I got news on that too.
So fuck you, Sinclair, and fuck you, Vince, okay? All of you, get the fuck off my lawn. Thank you.
Take a bow.
I'd rather drink a beer. Alright. Okay, so our next Get Off Our Lawn segment took place in the next episode where Chris basically gave his own opinion about the direction of WWE and especially of NXT and the women's division. This is what Chris had to say.
Dementia window-looking fuck. Yes, I said that. I'm not going to mince words. One, I saw the writing on the wall when you went down to Florida to the PC in July, when you probably didn't see any big guys that you could jerk off to. Okay? Then we saw the change of NXT. And I hate the fucking change to NXT. Then you shit all over the women's division because Ronda Rousey isn't there to fill your goddamn fucking pocket anymore. What was the... I'm going to tag you in on this. What was the average time of both women's matches, all 4 women's matches, on both SmackDown and past Raw for the tournament?
Well, Eric Bischoff probably would have been happy because it was about 3 minutes, right?
The average match combined was 8 minutes and 14 seconds. Excuse me. The matches that were on SmackDown combined, Roman Reigns' entrance was longer. Longer. Yeah, you're shaking your head. I went volcanic. Okay? The reason why your Sunday isn't there anymore because he probably got tired of your shit and tried to calm your ass down. And you probably slapped him down because he's not a yes man that you surround yourselves with. This goes back to the CM Punk promo from 10 years ago and the Paul Heyman promo from 20 years ago. Where even Heyman, even it was a kayfabe kind of shoot, he said his own kids hate him. Remember that?
I do.
Yes. That was a fucking shoot. I don't give a flying fucking kayfabe. That's a fucking shoot. Vince, go fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself.
Well, Chris, don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel. But let me ask you this. You mentioned about how he screwed up NXT, and a lot of people agree with you, including myself. What is your take on it? Be more specific, if you would, please.
Johnny Gargano, who's the top star there, removed all NXT references on his social media. His contract's up in December. He's seen the writing on the wall where all they want to do is get these big gigantic oafs who can't fucking work. You're getting rid. Tommaso Ciampa's going to be gone soon. Gargano's leaving. Rick Steiner, who they're not even letting him use his fucking last name, Rick Steiner's son. But that was heat from Scott Steiner. Wayne Bloom's son, don't give a shit. These 2 barroom brawlers they got for a tag team, don't give a shit. It's like watching the main roster all over again. You're shitting all over it. You're killing it. It's the only brand I actually enjoyed out of all 3. You killing it. Stop it. Stop it now. Jesus fucking Christ. Get off my fucking lawn already. God damn. God damn. Fuck you, you old fucking fart.
This next segment came from our spooky bullshit Halloween edition of the show. And basically what had happened, folks, Chris and I tried to drive to Philadelphia to see a New Japan show at the 2300 Arena. They had actually 2 shows. They had a Saturday and a Sunday show that particular weekend. We went up on the Saturday to see day 1, basically. And what had happened there was a serious traffic accident on I-95 North. So serious that Chris and I literally sat in traffic for over 2 hours on I-95 until Maryland State Police actually closed down 95 North and diverted people onto other highways. And if you chose to do so, you could go on to alternates, for example, as Route 40 and then possibly get onto 95 to go to Philadelphia or New York or anywhere northbound of that accident. Well, we basically tapped out. We sat in traffic for 2 hours, and as a result, we weren't able to move our cars until 5:30, and our show in Philadelphia was supposed to start at 6 o'clock, and we had maybe about, maybe 70, 80 miles to go then. So we would not have made it in time, and this is Chris's little rant about that, especially since, he had said he wanted to go to New Japan shows for a long time, as you will hear. He wanted to see them at Madison Square Garden when they were there. He's a huge fan of Minoru Suzuki, and just all this rage came out all at once, and you're going to hear it right now. So, Chris, who and what do you want off your lawn?
People who do their cell phones while driving! It's called natural selection. If you're doing that, you're vain and vanity. Like Al Pacino said at the end of Devil's Advocate is my favorite sin. That pissed me off. And I've been a fan of New Japan, 30 years? Since we saw Liger on WCW. Then we started getting the tapes from tape dealers. Then streaming stuff and all this stuff. This is a dream thing for me. This is a bucket list thing for me. And because of some idiot on a fucking road, probably on a goddamn fucking cell phone, who would, hey, look, I'm going to do a selfie with driving. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Well, number one, we don't know what the actual cause of the accident. We didn't actually see the accident. I saw like a few
we saw a
tire treads.
hazmat truck.
Okay, well that could be anything. It could have been, could have been somebody driving. Could have been like a tractor trailer had a load or something. We don't know, Chris. I mean,
the place you and me used to work at, the day we had the ice storm and they had that accident where we both went to work. It was a blackout.
Yeah.
That I found out that was because of a cell phone. Somebody was on their cell phone driving excessive speeds on an icy road. Mm. So 99.9%, most people are about themselves nowadays. It's probably somebody on a cell phone. And I'm waiting for this, and you know it's going to happen. Somebody walking across the street, not paying attention on their cell phone, being hit by somebody driving while on their cell phone. Get off my fucking lawn.
Is it at the Starbucks? Which is next to another Starbucks?
This is the Lewis Black segment, isn't it?
Oh. Our next segment is from episode 26, in which we got to interview two friends of ours, Eric and Lisa, from the band Lisa Christ Superstar, about their music. This band also provides the walk-up music for the beginning of our show. So I would highly suggest you not only check out that episode, like I said, episode 26, for the interview. You can also find out how to get some cool stuff like t-shirts, their latest CD, digital downloads of their latest CD. If you have a belated holiday gift to get someone, or if you want to get something cool for yourself, you can't go wrong by going to their website, www.lisachristsuperstar.com. On that same episode, Chris and I had a joint production Get Off My Lawn segment, in which Chris went off on WWE yet again for more talent layoffs, and I went off on one specific talent layoff for that week, Nia Jax. So here we go.
Now, do you want to get to the rants?
Absolutely, you first.
Or as Horshack used to say, ahem.
Alright.
We heard on WrestleVotes, we read on, you follow WrestleVotes on Twitter, right?
Sometimes I don't.
They're 99.9% accurate and reliable. They said we're taping this on Monday the 8th. On Friday the 5th, that morning, there was going to be a small number of releases being named. We didn't know it was going to be 18?
18.
Okay.
And I heard there may be even more.
More, yeah, coming down the pike.
And probably by the time this show goes on the air, it probably will be more.
Okay. PFAB. You just brought her up from Hit Row. The chick with Hit Row. They got rid of her. Okay? And if you notice something, they took out, and I heard this about on Wrestle Talk, they took out her chorus out of the theme music.
I heard that.
They watered down the music. Remember the last show? There's two shows before us. We said they haven't fidgeted around with the gimmick yet. We cursed them.
Yeah.
We cursed them. We got that. The one that glares at me, and because of the new rule they have for NXT, was the now known Taya Valkyrie Frankie Monet, and basically told her that she's too old to be there, and she's 38 years old. And now they're saying they don't want to hire nobody who's come through the indies. They want to train them themselves. Which I want to ask you in this rant: how many homegrown talent have you seen it grow big at that performance center? If any.
About as many as it came out of Grumpy Central.
Bray and maybe Charlotte. That's it. Everybody else came through the indies.
Okay, that's 2 more than I thought. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Everybody else came through the indies. I mean, Sasha came through the indies. Bailey and Becky probably came through Shimmer. I mean, Natty went through Shimmer before she got signed. I'm afraid that they're getting her because she's 39. But they're keeping Shayna Baszler, who's 40, and Tamina Snuka, who she might be on her way out at 44. Okay. The other release was Ember Moon. She's only 33. That's another. I realized that she tore her Achilles. It took her a year to heal. They brought her back. They put her with Shotzi. They won the tag titles. That NXT. They lose the tag titles, and she disappears. And they move Shotzi up. Okay, and we'll get to Shotzi in a little bit. Oh God, where can I begin with the names? Mia Yim. I know Stephanie, that's her real name. I know Stephanie real well. I actually hung out with Stephanie backstage at Ring of Honor show. She's cool as shit, very down to earth. Good kid. I've seen her do crazy ladder matches in CZW against guys. Okay? Another one that blew my mind was Scarlett. And we might as well do with the significant others, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. That's another thing. Yeah, they tweaked their gimmicks. And apparently, they don't get them. And did you see what Karrion Kross said about the Gimp mask? On Twitter, he says that nobody likes that fucking shit.
Right.
And the cryptic videos he's been putting on Twitter are fucking awesome. We're going to see the return of Killer Kross.
Okay.
Scarlett is already teasing doing an OnlyFans. And we're going to see the return of the Smoke Show, like she was in Impact. So, there's speculation a lot. As soon as these names came out, everybody's doing fantasy booking.
Right.
What were the other names offhand? We did Keith Lee, who they said had attitude problems. No, Vince didn't know what the fuck to do with him.
Oh, what about, you didn't mention that that'll be part of my Get Off My Lawn segment.
Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Nia Jax. What were the other main roster guys they got rid of?
It was mostly NXT people, but like the biggest names were like her and Keith Lee.
Keith Lee, Taya
Valkyrie, whatever her name is now.
Frankie Monet, now she's gone back to Taya Valkyrie. Who is John Morrison's wife? And I pretty much can tell you he's probably going to be he's on the chopping block too. Would you like to see him back as Johnny Impact and tearing up Impact like he was? Or Johnny Mundo down in AAA? He is a great talent.
All right.
Okay? Vince, you're an inconsiderate prick. Okay? You said budget cuts. All I'm hearing is budget cuts. You recorded, this is the day after. This is the same day they did the quarterly stockholders conference call. They made $256 million profit. This quarter. Budget cuts, they're full of shit. They're full of fucking shit. He's a greedy old prick. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. I don't want him to go away. I just want him done. Gone.
Well, he will once they sell that company. It'll probably be to the cock, or to Disney, or to Saudi Arabia.
You saw what I said on Facebook that day. So they're downselling. They're downsizing for a sale. They are selling. You saw the list of names from the last 2 years. It's like almost 80 names. They got rid of half the roster. They bloated it up just because they're in fear of AEW. Now they don't fear AEW anymore.
Well, they probably think that Tony, probably what you've been saying, and that Ruckus told you, thinks that he wants Tony Khan to buy everybody up to buy himself broke.
Tony said in an interview, I think, with the Torch, basically saying he's interested in some names, not all. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what name he's going to talk about is Keith Lee.
Right.
Keith Lee as All Elite, be awesome. Do you think Mia would go there or go back to Impact?
Say this again.
Mia Yim, do you think she'll go back to Impact or join Keith Lee in AEW?
It's hard to say. She'll probably follow wherever he goes.
Or like Cross, where you think he'll go back to Impact to be the monster that he can be the big monster in a small pond?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think AEW is getting too crowded.
It's like,
at least as far as male talent. I think they need more women, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And more tag teams. But
yes. But Mia Yim, Scarlett. I've seen Scarlett work in the ring. She's improved immensely.
yeah.
She's a former, for MCW, a former Rage TV champion. She did it with a Canadian Destroyer on a man. Yeah. You see Scarlett coming back to Impact because they can't go to Ring of Honor anymore.
Yeah. Well, we don't know that for sure.
Taya's going to go back. You know that for a fact. Which I still remember when they had the whole Johnny Bravo fucking bullshit with the Who Shot Johnny Bravo. They said Taya to Tommy Dreamer said Connecticut Supermax.
Yeah.
Which, if you go by the videos that Aleister Black or Malachi Black, Buddy Murphy, and even Ruby Soho put out saying they're getting out of jail. This is jail.
I think it's more like an insane asylum instead of jail.
This is Arkham.
Yep.
This is fucking Arkham. I mean, this is like you. We grew up on this. I became a fan because of what his father did.
Yeah.
What Vince's father did. I started watching it when Bob Backlund was in the middle of Bob Backlund's reign. Right, 2 years left of Bob Backlund's reign before the Iron Sheik beat him, or so-called beat him.
Right.
In the beginning of Hulkamania. Then watching the NWA, I became a fan. This is not making me a fan anymore.
Yeah.
This is so contrived, so predictable. And again, it goes back to the pipe bomb that Punk said about him surrounded by yes men. You got Pritchard, Laurinaitis, and Kine going down to the performance center looking at people going, that's what Vince likes. That's what we think Vince likes. Right?
Yep.
And now they have another rule there. You got 90 days to improve or you're gone. Okay?
Define improving that.
Improving in-ring skills and shit.
Yeah, but I mean...
Again, if you're bringing 25 years and younger, we talked to our friend John. I talked to our friend John. He basically wants these girls to come in to be molded into their image. That's basically what it is. He wants to bring young, impressionable minds to be molded into their... Speaking of molding.
Yeah.
Molded into their image.
Yeah.
So, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, it's... The product is absolute crap. I mean, what they're doing to the wrestlers, I don't agree with. And what they're having the wrestlers, they are keeping doing now, this is like what we're watching now with
Seth Rollins
in his runway jacket talking to wannabe Kurt Angle and Assam. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Mandy Rose had to put her in that angle with him a year ago. But
Mickey James, Mickey James brought up a lot of things about ageism. Lufisto did a beautiful tweet on Twitter saying she's 41 years old. She can still go.
Right.
And she can do a lot of stuff still. And she didn't want to put her age out there, but she did. And they're talking about ageism in the business. Ageism exists in every facets of life when it comes to women. If you think so. If you think about it. It does. And it's different for people our age because it hits men our age now. Do you think they're wrong for calling Vince out being an ageist?
Definitely. And for another reason, too. I mean, how many...
He's a sexist pig, too.
Well, not just that. But, I mean, just male or female as far as the ageism goes. I mean, 35... I mean, they've always said usually wrestlers don't hit their prime until they're 35.
Yeah. Well, what was the other thing, another edict about the guys? No guys over 30, no small guys. They want giants.
Now, what I'm confused about is this for the hiring for NXT or for all of them?
For NXT right now, they'd be trained.
Right. Okay.
And I feel sorry for Sarah. Sarah Del Rey is their head trainer down there, and they're probably going to give her nothing but shit to deal with.
Right.
And these idiots who probably are greenhorns, you're going to see a lot of green in NXT, and they're probably going to be forced on television soon.
Right. And it'll probably be a bunch of accidents, and what we'll probably get, Chris, will probably be like their writing staff. They'll get people from outside of wrestling.
Yes.
I can see this now. He's going to probably be like, he'll be looking at like track athletes, he'll be looking at women's soccer players, he'll be looking at everything except for actual wrestlers.
Well, Casey whatever her name, Ricochet's girlfriend, they got her from American Ninja Warrior. They got her from American Ninja Warrior. She can do parkour.
Well, I mean, like Vincent, your 24/7 champion.
Reggie, yeah.
Or I mean, Reggie, rather. He got him from goddamn Cirque du Soleil.
Yep.
Okay.
Because Vince likes that shit. They're doing things to appease a 76-year-old prick. I'm calling you a prick.
I think he's older than that, actually.
You are a prick. You're an old prick. Go away and die.
And where do you want that old prick to go, Chris?
Die.
No, where do you want him to go? Where do you want him to get off of?
My lawn, damn it, and go to hell.
All right, thank you very much. Now it's my turn. One of the cuts that we mentioned, Miss Nia Jax. This lummox, first of all, should be hired by Utz Potatoes or Weiss or Frito-Lay for as many times as she potatoes women's like a third of her fucking size, okay? That's one thing. You knew right then and there, I mean, there have been allegations that she's not very careful with the ladies that she's in the ring with. The fact... Now, there were allegations as far as why she was one of the people released. And it was originally mentioned it was because of her vaccination status, or lack thereof. Choosing not to be vaccinated.
She was openly unvaccinated, she said.
You said she was vaccinated?
Openly unvaccinated.
Openly unvaccinated, okay. Well, alright, granted, she later denied that was why they released her. They think she was released because she wanted to take off too much time basically for mental dates or whatever, just for mental health. Alright, well, I would believe that you are suffering from mental health, Nia Jax, because you are a selfish bitch. Okay? I know people are divided on this inside and outside of wrestling as far as vaccinations. Alright? All I'm going to say is, if you don't trust the government or the vaccines or anything like that, if you're not sure, speak to somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. Talk to a doctor, talk to a nurse, talk to somebody who actually has medical training. Not some dipshit from fucking Breitbart or Rush Limbaugh or Donald Trump or any right-wing nut, okay? I'm sorry. If you don't want it, the only arguments I hear about this, Chris, are people saying, well, it's my freedoms, it's my germs, I don't trust, Now, Aaron Rodgers is basically being called to task about this because he lied. And never mind what your opinion of, as far as the vaccine itself, he violated several rules of the NFL regarding this. And he should be punished. And I'm pissed at him because he's my fantasy football quarterback. I'm not going to lie. All right.
Yeah, you're pissed.
But...
Caution your points.
But, that being said, alright, if you don't care about your own damn self, get it for somebody else. My mother died last year. I was taking care of her for 3 years because she had multiple sclerosis and was bedridden. I got it so I could take care of her and not give her the goddamn disease. I mean, if you don't care about yourself, you should care about other people. Her cousin was current Universal Champion, had leukemia. He actually took time off because of...
The peak of the pandemic.
At the peak of the pandemic. Bitch, you could have got your fucking cousin sick with COVID, you selfish. I hope to God AEW, Impact, I I hope she tags with Tessa Blanchard and is fucking nuclear. Because I swear to God, I do not want to see her in a ring. And if I do, I want to see, like, I want to see Suzuki come out and drag like Ronnie Garvin used to. Get out of it. I swear to God. Fuck you, Nia Jax, get the fuck off my lawn, you.
And at the tag of this, before somebody starts calling you libtard or all that, you're a registered Republican, right?
I used to be I'm actually unregistered. I'm not registered with either party, but I have voted Republican in the
Yes,
past.
and before anybody says, well, he's a libtard, he's doing all this and this and this. Okay, I've been around you all my life. I know your views in life, okay?
Right.
You know me all my life. You know my views in life. We pretty much keep it to ourselves.
Life is too short for partisan politics. Okay?
Thank you.
If you're too far to the left or too far to the right, you're either going to drown in an ocean or fall off a fucking cliff, and I hope you know!
Thank you.
You know, you can be liberal without being a libtard. You can be conservative without being a Trump pansy, okay? But that's the problem. It's empty barrels make a lot of noises, and you probably have more empty barrels on the internet than, like, all of Jack Daniels' warehouses, okay? I mean,
I call it tribal warfare, and we resorted to tribal warfare.
Right. But my whole thing is, Nia Jax, fuck you. Get off my lawn.
Do you want to get to, now after that, you want to get to the SmackDown review?
I think we just gave a SmackDown review.
Our next segment was somewhat of a shock to me when this happened, but throughout the season of the show, folks, I've been teasing Chris constantly about being such a mark for Impact Wrestling that he would be receiving checks on the side for mentioning them, because he would mention several things about them, much to my chagrin. Some of the storylines, some of the angles, some of the pay-per-views. I don't know. Chris would just mark so much about it. He'd be in his own Impact Wrestling bubble. And there have been more than one occasion I said to him on the show and off the air, who gives a shit? Okay, really. Well, come to my surprise in this episode, Chris actually had a Get Off My Lawn segment about Impact Wrestling. I'm sure a lot of people in Nashville or wherever they're based now felt betrayed by hearing this. But anyway, here's Chris going off on a storyline that happened in Thanksgiving regarding Impact Wrestling.
Well, folks, we took a little break from the goings-on in wrestling because a lot of things. Mainly because Vinnie Mac has been pissing us off left and right and sideways. And,
Where do you want to start with this one?
Jeez. Well, I'm going to make a proclamation, Chris. Give you a little background, folks. Years ago, I used to DJ for a nightclub in Baltimore, and our head DJ had a rule where once in a while we would work every Saturday night, and there would be a hot rotation of like maybe 5 songs that people had been requesting every night for like 5 at this time, maybe 5 or 10 years straight. And they would make a rule where it'd be like, okay, from here on out, these songs are forbidden. You can't play this song, or this song. So I'm going to do that with our Get Off My Lawns. We can complain about the WWE if we want. But from here on out, we are not going to complain about talent releases. Mainly because it seem like they do it every goddamn week. And it's like...
And it's almost like a breath of fresh air for the guys that they release.
Right. Especially from NXT. My goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you want to talk about, speaking of releases, you want to talk about the contracts going bye-bye?
Yeah, okay, well, all right, let me amend that. We can talk about it as far as the actual stories, but they won't be a Get Off My Lawn.
Okay.
We'll talk about something else with
Yes.
that. But all right,
well,
yeah.
I got mine later. Believe me. And when I told you off air, you were surprised it was going to be.
Yeah, I know. I guess maybe the checks they're sending are bouncing. I don't know. But
you want to do that first because I can purge.
get it out of your system, Chris. Who do you want to get off your lawn today?
Impact Wrestling. Jesus Christ. Brandon, we haven't done a show since before Thanksgiving. They did a Thanksgiving episode, which we know it was a throwaway episode. We know nobody was going to be watching. I saw the numbers. They drew 78,000 people to watch the show. Everybody's at grandma's house, right? And you chime in on this. You know what I saw? Not wrestling. They brought back Wrestle House. That hurts me just looking at you looking like that. Whereas, if you saw it last year, they did, during the height of the pandemic with the travel restrictions and with the limited number they had, they did a takeoff on reality TV, you know, like Big Brother and Survivor and all that, and called it Wrestle House.
In other words, shows that wrestling fans don't watch.
Yeah.
Right.
And they did an entire episode of Wrestle House, which, if they had matches, it was like empty studio matches with the guys around the ring. And the play-by-play was done by... You better put your drink down for this one. The Impact Doctor, some guy in clown makeup, and James Mitchell. Which James Mitchell did the narration of the entire episode like it was 'Twas the Night.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Yes. This was horrible. And because I was off that weekend, I got drunk and watched it. And it didn't kill the pain.
That sounds like the only way you could watch it.
It was the only way I could watch SmackDown that week, too. But
Sounds more like Mr. Burns tripping off of his meds.
I love Impact. It's the alternative out there next to AEW compared to what's coming out of Stanford. But to put that out there when they taped a bunch of shows at Sam's Town is mind-blowing and mind-boggling. I don't know why they did what they did. They made it as... You know who the center of the story was? Johnny fucking Swinger. Because he felt sad. He didn't feel thankful. And you know who the quote-unquote cast members of this little episode were?
Who?
All of Decay. Even though they were on the streaming special that night.
Right.
With the Knockouts tag titles. Because apparently Rosemary and Jessica Havoc can teleport. Spooky bullshit. Remember that.
Yeah, it's bullshit, alright.
Alicia and Eddie Edwards. Chris Sabin. Hernandez. You know, the former TNA, wasn't he a TNA champion at one time?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of TNA, I'm kind of seeing this right now.
Yeah, back from the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. Scott D'Amore, I don't know what mushrooms you're taking. Get off of them. I don't know why. Get off my lawn. Fuck you.
Our next two segments are both from episode 28, which was the final episode that we recorded in our normal format where we report the news of the week and that kind of thing. We recorded several special episodes after that. We recorded the Roddy Piper Christmas episode, this episode, and another one coming up next week, which will be our awards show called The Grumpies. If you remember the old Pro Wrestling Illustrated awards from from Bill Apter, they gave, most popular, most hated, that kind of thing. Chris and I do our own take on that. And that episode will be next week, and I think you'll enjoy that. But anyway, the two Get Off My Lawn segments are as follows. First, I do one regarding Devin Nicholson, known to many as Hannibal from Hannibal TV or the Blood Hunter from various independents, about how he went into business and stabbed the living hell out of this poor referee at an indie show in Texas. While Chris, his Get Off My Lawn segment regards the debut of Hook in AEW. So, without further ado, I'm going to play these for you back to back.
Narf.
Alright, well, speaking of people who were stabbed in the head, we're going to start off with my Get Off My Lawn. This came from a story on the very day that we're recording this. And I'm reading this and got, what kind of a world we come to live in where this is actually a reliable source for fucking sports gossip. TMZ
Sports.
Yeah. And actually, I'll give them credit, they do better journalism than I think a lot of regular networks do with politics. But anyway, alright. Wrestler Hannibal violently stabs ref with iron spike. Claims ref was, quote, hired to bleed, end quote. Okay. I'm going to read this article and then I'm going to comment and tell why this knucklehead should get off my lawn.
I'm going to sit back in your awe.
Okay. And it has an update. It's been updated since, I guess, the story first came out. 4:16 Pacific Time. Nicholson is breaking his silence on the incident, claiming the ref was hired to bleed, adding that the man never gave him any indication that he was in pain during the stabbing. He couldn't. I mean, usually he's like, I'll quit it is usually a sign.
That's not the safe word.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, carrying cross maybe, should have given him one.
All
right.
Jesus Christ.
Nicholson spelled it all out in a video message Monday, saying he had no idea Del Toro was actually hurt during the match.
Bullshit.
And if you've ever watched Hannibal TV, I mean, he has a lot of pregnant pauses like William Shatner.
Oh, God.
I mean, he's really slow. I mean, Cornette's been making fun of him even before this happened.
Like this?
No, he talks like this. Like as if Dr. Frankenstein invented a new monster and then programmed him to be a wrestling YouTuber. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
What happened, Nicholson said. This referee was supposed to bleed from razor blade cuts. I assume he actually cut himself with the razor blades. You hoser. Okay. He gave no indication to me, and you people can watch the footage.
You people?
He said that.
Oh,
this is a direct quote. Zero indication to me in the ring that he wasn't just selling and was legitimately hurt. Nicholson says he thought he had covered the tip of the spike with his hand. Oh, jeez. There are too many of our listeners do that, and we should warn you not to do that. Right. And simply believed Del Toro was putting on a show for the crowd as he pounded the guy's forehead. If he had told me he was getting hurt, Nicholson said, I would have stopped. Nicholson claims he apologized to Del Toro on Sunday over it all, and says the ref told him, we were cool. He knows that I didn't mean to hurt him, Nicholson said. Nicholson also claims TMZ Sports did not attempt to reach him for comment. That's not true. We reached out to the email address listed on his YouTube account page at 8:21 a.m. Pacific Time, which would be 11:21 a.m. Eastern Time, and never received a response.
The original story.
A wrestler took... that's right, these are all updates above the original story, that's correct. A wrestler took things way too far during a match over the weekend, stabbing a referee in the head with an iron spike so violently the man was forced to go to the hospital. The horrifying scene all went down at a world-class pro wrestling event in Irving, Texas on Saturday, when Devin Nicholson, a.k.a. Hannibal, was taking on Carlito. He was also billed as the Blood Hunter,
yes.
I'm surprised TMZ didn't pick that up. That's the headline waiting for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here's a quote from a tweet from someone called the Slop Drop. I think he's a YouTuber.
I read this, yeah.
I'm not about cancel culture, but promotions need to stop booking Hannibal, a.k.a. Blood Hunter. There's been numerous accusations of sexual harassment and several incidents of him legit injuring people. He's a reckless liability that it's all about himself and getting YouTube views. I'm going to get to that later. Nicholson, who runs a popular YouTube page that has over 300,000 subscribers, and Carlito put on a show for several minutes, with Nicholson eventually pinning his opponent and winning the match.
That was not cool.
No. Nope, and Carlito should have spat the apple in his face for doing it. Nicholson, though, did not leave the ring immediately, and instead he began fighting with the referee inside the squared circle. In video from the match, you can see it at one point, Nicholson took out a spike and began ramming it into the ref's forehead over and over and over again. The full video, and TMZ actually shows a clip of this. This is all over YouTube.
Uncensored, of course.
Right. The full video of the match shows Nicholson stabbed and scraped the man with the sharp object over a dozen times, leaving him in a pool of blood in the ring. Eventually, another wrestler pulled Nicholson off the ref, and video from the event shows a public address announcer actually asked for a doctor in the crowd to help the ref.
Oh my God.
And below that, they're showing a picture of the referee named Lando Del Toro. The ref was ultimately taken to the hospital and required sutures to close his wounds. Damn, he looks like...
I heard
he looks like Christopher Lee's Frankenstein in the
I heard
Hammer
he blew an
film.
artery.
Ooh. Yep,
Yeah.
well, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
Somehow, according to a statement on Del Toro's social media pages, he's expected to make a full recovery. Recovering at home, the ref said on his Twitter page. Still a bit fuzzy and pain, yet yes, lots of pain, but I'll live. Thanks you all for the outpouring of love and support. Alright, let's see.
That's the owner.
World-class pro wrestling owner Jerry Bostic, meanwhile, said in a video message Sunday that he found Nicholson's actions appalling and announced the wrestler is now banned from all of his future events. World-class moving forward will not be associated with Devin Nicholson, Bostic said. I cannot and will not condone what happened last night. We've reached out to Nicholson for comment, but so far no word back yet. Again, folks, this is from TMZ. I'm going to find the author of the article to see if we can give him credit. Doesn't seem like they...
No, it doesn't.
Listed him. Okay. Alright, a few things about this. Okay, it was mentioned that there were sexual allegations.
Yes.
One of them allegedly may have been towards Selena Della Renta. Because I remember shortly after she left Major League Wrestling, she mentioned about Hannibal basically almost kind of like stalking her. He said when she managed at this promotion called SWE Fury, which was based in the same metropolitan Dallas area.
Yeah.
She managed him as he portrayed the Blood Hunter. I did not know this until this article. I knew there was heat between her and Hannibal, but I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Nicholson paid for her airfare to come to Texas to do these shows and to manage them. And supposedly, Selena wanted to manage other wrestlers as she had in MLW and other promotions she's worked for. And Hannibal kind of wanted more of an exclusive arrangement.
He went...
Possibly some personal feelings going on. Well, I don't know. That's between those two to sort out. We're just reacting to what we read on here. Now, the reason I want this poser to get off my fucking lawn. Years ago, he cried on his channel about how he had fought Abdullah the Butcher, and how Abdullah the Butcher used his head for a baked potato like he did with this referee. Abdullah the Butcher, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, had hepatitis C.
Which there's no cure.
And on top of that, a few things, but number one, he did not know, allegedly he did not tell Hannibal or the promoter that. Another thing was, as many people who have seen Abdullah the Butcher wrestle, he likes to use a fork as a weapon. And sometimes he likes to gig and get bloody himself. Well, allegedly during this match between him and Hannibal, Abdullah tainted the fork with his own blood and stabbed Nicholson repeatedly with his own hepatitis C stained fork. And Hannibal was allegedly rushed to the hospital and all this stuff. And he even had other wrestlers back in like superstar Billy Graham actually, condemned Abby, and other wrestlers did so too. Rightfully so. If you had anyone do that to you, you should be more considerate to another wrestler you're working with. Or anyone you work with, especially a referee who is not trained to take a bump like that.
Yeah.
Just because the dude doesn't know how to slice his own forehead doesn't mean you go New Jack Mass Transit on the motherfucker. So, Devin Nicholson, I'm going to say it to you in words that you may understand. This is Hannibal from the Hannibal TV. No, this is actually Rick from the Grumpy Old Man podcast at Hannibal TV. Get the fuck off my lawn!
I'm reading Selena's Twitter right now. Not a word about it on here.
Well, she probably doesn't want to...
Give the guy any...
Yeah, I mean, there could be legal ramifications, and plus, I don't know, from something she said, he might be a fucking psycho, too.
From what I understand from the story, same video we saw from Wrestle Talk, that apparently he went into business for himself.
Of course, that's what, well, they
Just
said
like,
that on there, yeah.
Just like the Sexy Star incident with Rosemary. But far worse.
Mm-hmm.
We did not mention this in this article. Who was Blood Hunter's manager during that match?
I don't think it has any relevance, but Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan. Did he not say kayfabe to the cops?
He
He said kayfabe to the cops, so it's just easy.
maybe maybe Nicholson. Did Nicholson say that? I thought Nicholson said that too. Sullivan.
Yeah, but he said Sullivan told him to kayfabe to the cops.
You know, I mean, maybe they had planned for the referee to get bloodied, but not like that.
No, nobody deserves that. Nobody.
Right.
I don't care what. I don't care. And we watched death matches where it's far worse than this. I mean,
well, part of the reason I think he may have gone into business for himself, as I mentioned, he was involved with a company called SWE Fury. Which was based in Texas. They tried to work through the old world-class territory. They had Jazz and her husband Eddie Mack involved, and a few other known wrestlers who had a school, and this was kind of basically a territory for their school. Allegedly, they had money problems. Hannibal was one of the investors, and he even televised some of the matches on his channel just to try to get them. And you go on his channel, he's been playing old matches, replaying old matches under his.
was he a good worker at all? This guy just came under my radar just from this story.
I think he mainly worked indies in Canada, but I think he might have had like some dark match tryouts with WWE, but for the most part, yeah.
He'll never work anywhere again after this.
Well, he was a promoter for a while. He has a company called Great North Wrestling.
Well, you might as well close that. With Twitter and the way it is nowadays, it's done.
Stay tuned, folks. You might see that happen, but.
Yeah. He's going to be managing. What was that old Sam Kinison joke? He's going to be managing a fucking drive-through at Wendy's at over midnight.
I thought it was a bowling alley.
Yeah, it was also
3 in the morning or something.
3 in the morning. That's the only job he'll probably get because nobody will recognize. Well, then again, he wrestled under a mask, right?
Right, but I mean, this owner of the World Class called him out and said, I'm not hiring Hannibal, I'm not hiring Blood Hunter, I'm not hiring. Yeah. I'm not hiring him. I don't care if he calls himself those names, Bob and Doug McKenzie, Wayne Gretzky. I don't give a flying fuck. No.
Yeah. This is my get off my lawn segment.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Granted, it's Hook. It has his son. He had his first match, his debut match. A nice little build up of him just being at ringside. He had one match. It's a good match. It was not. It was a. I thought it was a very good match.
Yeah.
The guy showed a lot of promise. I saw a lot of his father in him. I am not like Dave Meltzer, Tempest on Wrestle Talk, who gave it a 10 out of 5.
Right.
Yeah. Sean Ross Sapp, and the rest of them who are just fucking jerking themselves off all over this kid, thinking he's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. Okay? He had one fucking match. Get off his dick. Give him some more time, see what he does. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, reading Twitter the Friday of this and reading it the next day, my head was about to explode of how much of a love fest for this kid it was. It was like, one match.
Seems like the Khan family are paying for PR for this when they should be paying for a real coach and players for their city football team. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Ross Sapp is a really good, reliable source. And we'll get to him later about the Jeff Hardy thing. And it blows my mind that they're coddling this kid as much as they are. Again, it was one fucking match. Granted, it's for Fuego del Sol, who's jobber to the stars, and you even said it off air. It's going to lead up to a feud against Dante Martin, which me and you were invested in. Mm-hmm. Meltzer, you get the fuck off my lawn.
Alright, folks, want to thank you for joining us for this special episode of the Grumpy Old Man Wrestling Podcast. Hope you liked all of our Get Off My Lawn segments. Hope you got a laugh at mine and Chris's expense as we basically went on old man rants about various topics in professional wrestling.
Hope everyone listening has a happy and safe New Year. Hopefully you celebrate it safely, whether it be staying at home or going out with friends or going to an establishment to ring in the New Year. Just be safe. Be safe from COVID, safe from drunken driving, safe from everything, all right? And we'll hope you'll get to listen to us in 2022. We have the next episode after this, as I mentioned earlier, it will be our award show called The Grumpies, where basically various awards to different wrestlers, different angles, different promotions, that kind of thing. You'll want to listen to that. So, again, thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Stay safe and have a nice day, shitheads! What up?